Have you ever wondered what goes through someone's mind when you suddenly disappear from their life? Not just a temporary silence, but a complete withdrawal. No text, no call, no explanation. They used to trust your presence as a certainty, a habit they could rely on. But then, suddenly, you withdraw decisively, leaving them completely surprised. As Epictetus famously said, "Don't just talk about your philosophy, live it." That's when you choose action, not words. When you're silent, your absence will begin to disturb them in ways they never expected. The things they took for granted, your care, your attention, your energy, suddenly become distant. At first, they may have thought they had the situation under control, but then that sense of confidence is gone, leaving a heavy void. Your departure is not just a void, but a mirror that forces them to look at themselves, to realize that the security and comfort they found in you is no longer there, as if an important part of their life has just disappeared. While you were there, they locked you into a framework, confident that they knew you down to the last detail and could predict your every move. But when you suddenly leave, all the rules are broken, leaving them feeling uncertain and insecure. Marcus Aurelius's words ring clear. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make of it. They will start asking themselves questions like, "Have I lost this person forever?" As each day passes, your silence becomes stronger and more resonant, while they struggle to come to terms with this truth. Your departure is not a form of revenge, but a way to regain power. You do not disappear to manipulate or demand attention. You leave because you know you deserve more. You are not a temporary option, but an irreplaceable individual. This distance gives them time and opportunity to understand your true value, to realize that your presence is not something that can be easily found again. What you create is not just a loss, but a void they cannot ignore. Your silence speaks louder than any words. Day by day without you, they will deeply feel the emptiness and begin to face their true nature. In this silence, you are no longer the one they worry about because they do not understand, but the one they long for, miss. The power is now yours, and this shocks them. Your absence will pierce their ego, leaving them wondering if they've lost you forever. If you're ready to take back your power, let them experience life without you. Show them that you no longer need their validation to feel fulfilled. Leave your mark not with your presence, but with your absence, something they can't ignore or easily replace. If you believe you deserve more, comment, "I'm ready to take my power." This is your moment to walk away, to let them know that you're not an easy choice, but a gift they've accidentally let slip away. Trust me, they never saw this coming. When you suddenly leave their lives, it's not just a disruption, it's a huge awakening. Not giving them space, but leaving a deep void, a void they never imagined. You become the silence that pervades their minds, the missing piece they can't ignore. Your absence will reach every corner of their minds, and that's when the power dynamic shifts. They will feel drawn to you, an irresistible pull. This will take them by surprise. The emptiness they once despised becomes an irresistible craving. Day after day, they begin to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why they didn't realize your value before you left. The power shift is now real. You've become a mystery they crave to explore, a source of energy that was once easy to get, but now far away. The farther away you are, the stronger your pull becomes. You're no longer the one chasing, but the one being pursued. So keep going. Let this video spread a powerful message to those who are also looking to reclaim their power. Trust me, you are not alone in this journey. There are many people out there who are stuck in the same cycle, waiting for a wake-up call. Let's break it together and live with the true power you deserve. Now, discover 9 things they will feel when you leave without a word. Trust me, they never saw this coming, and it will touch them in ways they never expected. 1. The crushing weight of silence. They never thought it would happen, and your absence has really hit them in a way they never expected. The void you left behind is more than just a void. It is a deafening, unignorable silence, and it is that silence that drives them into a desperate attempt to win you back. It is a change you probably never thought you could create, and the shock they feel when you suddenly disappear is the first emotion that hits them. That shock is not simply sadness, it is a sudden storm of emotions that leaves them confused, not understanding what happened. In relationships, people tend to believe in stability and continuity, assuming that the other person will always be there, especially when you are a familiar part of their life. And then you withdraw, shattering those expectations, leaving them in deep confusion, as if they were walking on a solid path only to find it suddenly crumbling beneath their feet. Your sudden disappearance leaves them disoriented, unable to face reality. As Marcus Aurelius said, all that we hear is opinion, not truth. All that we see is perspective, not substance. In their confusion, they grasp at every possible explanation, trying to figure out why you left, but every hypothesis is just conjecture, not providing any certainty. Your departure hits them like a sudden wave, and the comfort they once had in the relationship is washed away. They thought you would always be there, that you were a part of their life that they could rely on. But now that you're gone, the foundation they once relied on has been shaken, leaving them in a state of uncertainty. In their confusion, they replay every conversation, every interaction, every detail, looking for signs they might have missed. The smallest moments are now scrutinized, and a heavy sense of regret weighs on their minds. Were you distant? Was there anything unusual about the last time you texted? Seemingly small details now seem large, becoming sources of doubt and confusion. Epicurus once reminded, people are disturbed not by what happens, but by their opinions about what happened. When there is no clear explanation, their imagination starts to run wild, creating different stories and scenarios, which only deepens their insecurities. This confusion turns into a fog of doubt, covering everything. They wonder what they did wrong, but the more they try to find answers, the less clear they are. This leaves them feeling trapped, because there is no neat ending, no conversation to resolve everything clearly. Unlike an argument or a breakup where all emotions are clearly expressed, your silence is an unspoken mystery, forcing them to sit with their insecurities and unanswered questions. Seneca once said, "The brave are free." And in this moment, your departure becomes an act of courage, a way to free yourself from the constraints they once imposed on you, to set you free. While they are stuck in confusion, you have deliberately chosen to distance yourself. They are also beginning to realize that your absence has a profound practical impact. It is not just an emotional loss, but also a disruption to their routine. If you were someone they relied on emotionally, or someone they were in regular contact with, the absence of these small interactions feels like a huge rift in their life. Out of habit, they may still reach for their phone to text you, only to suddenly realize that you are no longer there to answer. The void you leave behind is no longer just the absence of a person, but the absence of a part of their life that was once their crutch. They never thought it would leave such a deep mark. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Loss is nothing but change, and change is the joy of nature." But in the midst of shock and hurt, they have not yet realized what this change brings. Instead, they feel like part of their world has fallen apart without warning. And this feeling of confusion is often accompanied by an emotional outburst, like an uncontrollable flood. They may feel hurt, even betrayed, wondering why you left without a word. 2. Rejection. First is the sting of rejection they will feel the moment you disappear from their lives. It's not a fleeting rejection, but a deep, lingering pain that only comes after they realize you're gone. Let's start with the cold, hard truth. They never thought this would happen. They never imagined you would be the one to leave. They're so used to you being there, patient and available, waiting for a change that never comes. But now, their world is turned upside down, and the pain of rejection feels like a blow to their ego. At first, they may act like they don't care, pretending that your disappearance doesn't affect them. But inside, it's a different story. The emptiness of being left alone suddenly becomes uncontrollable, more tormenting than they've ever admitted. Imagine, you have tried to get their attention, to show that you are available and available. Instead, they keep their distance, seemingly attracting your attention without asking for anything in return. You are the one who is very expressive about your feelings, and they know it. This makes them too comfortable, thinking that you will always be there, waiting for them. But when you stop trying, when you withdraw all your energy, suddenly, your presence becomes a heavy void that they cannot deny. It is a feeling of deep rejection. They are not prepared for this, and begin to wonder, have they pushed you too far? Left alone with their own fears and insecurities, they have no one to comfort or soothe their worries. You leave them alone with their fears, and now it is burning from within. Imagine, in an old relationship, you tried to rekindle the flame, but then you realized that it was really over. They were cold, distant, and treated your presence as an obligation. Then when you decided to leave, they might feel a little relieved, thinking that you just needed some space. But over time, that relief turned into a feeling of rejection. Suddenly, they realized that you no longer belonged to them, that they had lost you. It was painful, like they had lost something they didn't realize they needed. Steve Maraboli once said, "The most painful thing is to lose yourself while loving someone so much that you forget that you were special too." And that's exactly what happened. Whether it was a new relationship or an old one, they took you for granted. They forgot how special you were, and now that you're gone, rejection forces them to confront the fact that they've lost something precious. But this moment isn't about them. It's about you taking back your power. You were scared to leave, afraid that they'd forget you or replace you. That fear kept you stuck while you kept giving more than you received. Now that you've pulled away, you realize that fear was an illusion. What you're doing isn't running away or giving up. It's letting go of the need to prove your worth to someone who should have seen it all along. The pain of rejection they're feeling is simply a reflection of what happens when they finally realize that you're not theirs to keep. This is about remembering that you're not here to be chased. You're not someone to be trifled with. You are someone worth having. Stay grounded in this moment. Repeat to yourself, "I am worth enough as I am, and I will never beg anyone to see my worth." For that to sink in, you don't have to chase the approval of someone who doesn't appreciate you. You're not disappearing to manipulate them. You're stepping back because you realize you deserve more. Affirm this in the comments. I have stopped begging. Own this affirmation and let the world know you don't need to seek approval from anyone. You deserve better, and now is the time for them to feel it deeply. Your absence will shake them in ways they never expected. They have 8 more powerful realizations to come, and the journey isn't over yet. Before you take this step and disappear, you need to understand the impact it will have and how it will affect them. Trust me, every part of this process will completely change the dynamic between you and them. 3. The emptiness of missing something precious. After the shock of rejection, the next thing they feel is a deep emptiness. They begin to see the void that your absence leaves. At first, they may try to convince themselves that they are okay, that they are not affected, but the feeling of unease keeps growing. It is a void that they cannot ignore or fill. When you were there, they took you for granted. You were the one who spent your time, your attention, and your energy making their lives better. But now, your place is a big void, slowly eating them away from the inside. The loss is not just the lack of someone to talk to, but also the lack of the sense of security and stability that you brought. They may not realize how much you add meaning to their lives, but when you're no longer there, they begin to feel the ache of emptiness. Every day that passes without a text or call from you only makes the emptiness more apparent. The little things they once took for granted, good nights, shared laughs, small plans, now become memories that evoke regret. When you're no longer there to provide a foundation for connection, they realize how much of their lives have been built around you. This void becomes apparent whenever something reminds them of you. A song, a place, or a moment you shared. They realize that your silence is now a reminder that something important is missing. No matter how hard they try to distract themselves, the emptiness keeps coming back. You see, our brains crave what they've lost, and the more they try to forget, the more they're pulled back to you. Gradually, they realize that you were more than just a friend or a close person. You were an important part of their life, making a difference. And now, without you, it seems like nothing can replace it. What about you? During this time, you're not waiting for them to realize what they've missed. You're moving on, focusing on yourself, taking back your power. The emptiness they feel is no longer a burden you need to carry. That void is their own wake-up call. Repeat this affirmation: I am whole without them. You don't need their validation to feel valuable. You don't need their attention to feel complete. You chose to move on, and the emptiness they feel is just a testament to the power you've taken back. They may try to reconnect, but now you are in control. If they come back, it will be on your terms. And when they try to fill that void with someone else, they will realize that you are irreplaceable. Your affirmation, I am complete without them. 4. The curiosity that overwhelms when you disappear. After experiencing the pain of rejection and the feeling of emptiness, the next thing that invades their minds is an irresistible curiosity. At first, they may try to ignore it, pretending not to care that you have disappeared, but curiosity gradually creeps in and haunts them. They wonder endlessly, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you spending time with? Why are you no longer in touch? Questions constantly swirl around their minds. They crave to know the reason why you suddenly disappeared like that. They wonder if you have someone new, if you are happy and better off without them. This curiosity grows little by little, from a few vague thoughts to an obsession that gets stronger with each passing day. Every time they pick up their phone and don't see a message from you, they feel frustrated. Your silence is now a question they can't answer, and it's driving them crazy. They don't understand why you stopped caring, and this mystery gradually becomes a big puzzle in their mind. Especially in an old relationship, they used to know your habits and rhythm of life very well. Losing that presence now becomes unbearable. They may start to find ways to follow you indirectly, maybe through mutual friends or hidden movements on social networks. But no matter how hard they try, they can't find anything because you haven't left any clues. While they are trying to decipher your absence, you are completely enjoying your own life, investing in yourself, taking advantage of the new space that is no longer tied to their attention. It is this, your independence and self-reliance, that keeps them constantly drawn into a whirlpool of curiosity. Affirm this. I am a mystery. They cannot solve it. You have ceased to be an open book for them to read whenever they want. You are now a riddle beyond their reach. And because of this, they will not be able to stop themselves from trying to understand you, even though they know that you are now an enigma that is not easily grasped. 5. Deep self-reflection. When you leave, as curiosity gradually gives way to emptiness, they begin a journey of deep self-reflection. Your silence and absence force them to look at themselves, provoking questions they may not have asked before. Uncomfortable questions begin to pop into their minds. Did I push them away? Was I too cold? Was I inconsiderate? A whirlwind of doubt and regret washes over them, making them relive every moment, every detail of the relationship they once took for granted. Now, with each memory, they begin to realize that perhaps it was their own indifference and lack of effort that drove you away. They realize that every time you tried to connect, your efforts were ignored. When you were there, they didn't appreciate you. But now that you're gone, they wonder if they missed the opportunity to understand and be with you. The memories now become bitter reminders of how they weren't there for you, of the missed opportunities. Every action and lack of action now reveals cracks in their own character. Facing the truth about themselves is a difficult but necessary experience, a reality that can't be blamed on you for leaving. They see more clearly than ever that they themselves were the cause of the breakup. Now that you've moved on, this self-reflection is not your responsibility, it's their own journey of growth. You don't have to go back and console them or change for them. You did the right thing by standing your ground, by focusing on yourself and rejecting old patterns. Your power lies in staying on your journey of self-growth, not being distracted by their regrets. Repeat this affirmation. I reflect, but I have no regrets. You've moved on, and now, as they sit back with their reflections, you're growing into a stronger, more conscious, more self-sufficient person than ever before. 6. The urge to chase you. After experiencing the emptiness, the pain of rejection, and deep self-reflection, they begin to feel a strong urge to reach out and reconnect with you. This is where the roles truly reverse. The person who once seemed to be in control is now driven by an undeniable need to regain the connection they took for granted. At first, they may have told themselves that they didn't need you, that they were fine without you. But after facing the emptiness, the strong urge to fill that void, they can no longer convince themselves. What they've been through has woken them up, and they now realize that they may have lost something very precious. They begin to remember the moments when you showed your concern and made every effort to keep the relationship going. Now, your absence highlights the value you once provided to them, and they are tempted to go back and try to make amends. They may start with small gestures, like liking a post of yours, sending random messages to check in, or even asking about you through mutual friends. These actions are no longer just fleeting. They come from a deep realization that they have lost someone special. When they think about all you have done, the effort you have put in, the pain and regret they feel becomes deeper and deeper. Now they want you back, and you have become the focus of their thoughts, the person they are willing to pursue to win back. The irony here is that they used to be in control, but now you are in control. What once made them confident that you would always be there now turns into fear and insecurity. The more they realize they have lost you, the more intense the urge to make amends. But you, in your position, still have the power to decide. You no longer have to try to attract or hold on to anyone if they want to come back. It will be on your terms. At this point, remind yourself that you are the prize, not an option. They are coming back because they have finally realized what you have always known: you are worth pursuing. This is your moment to stand firm and assert your worth. Repeat the affirmation, I attract, I do not pursue. Write it down to remind yourself that you have changed the dynamic, and now everything is in your control. Whether they come back or not is entirely up to you. 6. The urge to chase you. After experiencing the emptiness, the pain of rejection, and deep self-reflection, they begin to feel a strong urge to reach out and reconnect with you. This is where the roles truly reverse. The person who once seemed to be in control is now driven by an undeniable need to regain the connection they took for granted. At first, they may have told themselves that they didn't need you, that they were fine without you. But after facing the emptiness, the strong urge to fill that void, they can no longer convince themselves. What they've been through has woken them up, and they now realize that they may have lost something very precious. They begin to remember the moments when you showed your concern and made every effort to keep the relationship going. Now, your absence highlights the value you once provided to them, and they are tempted to go back and try to make amends. They may start with small gestures, like liking a post of yours, sending random messages to check in, or even asking about you through mutual friends. These actions are no longer just fleeting. They come from a deep realization that they have lost someone special. When they think about all you have done, the effort you have put in, the pain and regret they feel becomes deeper and deeper. Now they want you back, and you have become the focus of their thoughts, the person they are willing to pursue to win back. The irony here is that they used to be in control, but now you are in control. What once made them confident that you would always be there now turns into fear and insecurity. The more they realize they have lost you, the more intense the urge to make amends. But you, in your position, still have the power to decide. You no longer have to try to attract or hold on to anyone if they want to come back. It will be on your terms. At this point, remind yourself that you are the prize, not an option. They are coming back because they have finally realized what you have always known: you are worth pursuing. This is your moment to stand firm and assert your worth. Repeat the affirmation, I attract, I do not pursue. Write it down to remind yourself that you have changed the dynamic, and now everything is in your control. Whether they come back or not is entirely up to you. 8. The desire to play the game. After the regret has subsided, another feeling begins to creep in: the desire to play the game to regain control. It is their desperate attempt to regain control of the situation, hoping to get you back without having to face their true feelings. They don't want to admit their mistake, so instead they choose to use tricks, thinking that this will get your attention. They may act indifferent, trying to act like they don't care, thinking that this cold and distant attitude will get you back. They may even post pictures of their exciting and fulfilling lives on social media, deliberately creating an image of happiness without you, a trick that they hope will arouse jealousy. Or, sometimes, they may even act intimate with other people in front of you, thinking that this will touch your self-esteem, making you feel like coming back to prove your worth. But this time, their game is no longer working because you have decided to leave the field. You are no longer participating. You have left and taken back the power for yourself. When they tried to manipulate you into reacting, you moved on. You grew up and saw clearly that the true nature behind these behaviors is just a desperate attempt to regain control that they can no longer hold. They may pretend to be unaffected by your absence, hoping that you will be the one to break the silence. But each day that passes without hearing from you only makes them more confused and frustrated. They may start using mixed signals, hot and cold behavior, as a way to test whether you will react. But this time, you have recognized and refused to fall for the trap. Their desire to play the game is just a last-ditch effort to recreate the sense of control they once had. But you have overcome your need for validation from those tricks. Affirmation for you: I am no longer playing the game. Affirm it in your mind and write it down in the comments if you want to remind yourself that you are an adult and do not need to go back to this cycle. You have stepped out of the game, and that is what makes you a winner. 9. Fear makes them come to you. After enduring the weight of silence, the inevitable gradually arises of fear. The fear of losing you forever weighs heavily on their minds. Now all games, pride, and ego no longer matter. For them, it becomes a matter of survival. The overwhelming fear, the fear that you've moved on, that you won't come back, becomes an inescapable obsession. Every thought of you, every moment without you, becomes a constant torment. They wonder if someone else has replaced them in your life, if you found new joy and fulfillment elsewhere. It leaves them confused, anxious, and disturbed, to the point where they can't help but act. The thought that you're gone forever hits them like a ton of bricks, making them reel. They're willing to do anything to get you back, even if it means humbling themselves, admitting their mistakes, or asking you for another chance. Now the game is off, and the truth is clear. You are someone of real value in their life, a value they can't replace. Your affirmation now is, I am worth pursuing. Remember this and show it. When they realize what they have lost and try to come back, you are in control. It is entirely your choice to give them another chance or not. Thank you for watching the whole video.